Hey, what's up you guys? Dr. Sharma here. As you know, doing well on the boards will really help you in the future. Not only does it show that you took the time to sit down and learn your medicine, but to some degree it shows your commitment, and it really shows program directors how committed you are to a certain topic. And unfortunately, it's also used to compare yourself to others. While I definitely don't think it's the #1 number that programs use to rank you, because let's be honest, social skills, volunteer work, and research are also super important. It's just a heavily weighted number on your application that is used and paid attention to until you match your residency. And honestly, that's just the truth of the matter. I started pretty hard and ended up doing pretty well on my boards. So you might be thinking, why would you want to do it any differently? And I mean, yeah, that's true to some degree. If you did something really well the first time, why would you want to change anything? But it's never too late to accept your mistakes and try to do better constantly. I mean, that's the art of medicine, right? We're constantly learning and doing research so that we can move the field forward and help our patients even more in the long run. Always try to do better and never settle down. So anyways, let's get started. First of all, I would have started earlier. Remember that you'll need a lot of time for this examination because there's just so much information crammed into one day. And starting earlier and being a little bit more serious about learning medicine probably would have had all that information stick more for the long run rather than sort of just cramming it all for one exam. Because essentially you're just cramming a bunch of information and dumping all the information later on after your boards. But I really think it's important clinically and also in the future of whatever specialty you end up choosing to really learn this medicine for the long run. 2, I would have used a lot more video lectures such as Pathoma or Sketchy Micro. I realize I actually learn a lot when there's a video in front of me and someone's pointing out different information because I'll use it to actively learn and read along with my book. And I definitely should have utilized videos more because there were times where I was just way too tired to actively learn and sit down and do questions. I was just kind of just wasting time being so exhausted and trying to get through my own techniques rather than just opening up a video and watching it. Now I really think this is a two-way street. Some of you may think that, oh, watching more video lectures is sort of passive learning and that you should be doing way more active learning and doing your own flashcards and questions. I think a combination of both is super important, but this is just my experience. And I think on those days that I was super tired, it would have been nice to have those video lectures that would just point off information to me and actively learn as I read along. Clearly, you really need to learn how you learn best and how you're going to retain information moving forward before you really start anything. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Eventually, I figured out what techniques learned for me when I was starting to study for my step 2 and step 3, and retrospectively, I feel like I should have done more videos. Next, I really would have scrutinized some of the explanations more on UWorld and try to create my own explanation in my first day. Now, of course, I did this for a lot of the questions, but this tends to be very tedious and takes a lot of time, which is why I spent a lot of time with each question. And while I'm sitting here complaining about how much time it would have took, I would have done that more. Because what you should be doing is taking information, filtering it, learning how you're going to understand it, and then writing an explanation or some sort of diagram or drawing that's going to help you retain it and stick. At the end of the day, you can use other people's mnemonics and study in groups and figure out how other people learn things, and if it works, it works. But if you're sitting there at someone else's diagram or someone else's mnemonic for about, I would say, over 5 minutes, and you're still not understanding it or getting the relative topic, you're wasting your time. Move forward and figure out how you're going to learn it. Everybody's mind works differently. And to reiterate, you have to figure out how you learn information best so that it really sticks. This is kind of a weird thing I would have changed, but I probably would have studied at home less and probably would have tried to get out to a library or a coffee shop more in order to study. Now this will probably contradict where you're going to be taking your practice exams because there's usually a very quiet space that you're going to be taking your exam at the testing center, and therefore you should be doing your simulation exams in a really quiet place such as home or a library. But the energy of coffee shops gets to me, and I like to have a little bit of a baseline ambient sound. I found that I was really able to stay awake and learn information best at coffee shops. But again, figure out what works best for you. Some people get really distracted and the noise kind of just doesn't help them learn. This is related to the testing day and timing, which I can talk about more in another video. But once I figured out where the peak of my performance was by the time of my second simulation exam, I found that I was at my peak performance and that was going to be my best score. I prolonged my exam by 2 weeks and I feel like I should have taken it earlier, maybe by 1 week or at least a couple days. Once you peak, that's when you should be really taking your exam. As always, like and subscribe for more videos. Let me know how I'm doing. Comment and comment below. And let me know if there's any topics that you'd like me to talk about. As always, good luck.